Good morning, everyone. It is almost 6:30 a.m. It's January 3rd. Happy New Year. I have not recorded a vlog in so long. I haven't posted one in so long. 2022 had to be one of the toughest years I have ever gone through. And I don't really know how to start this vlog off because there's so much to talk about that I don't really know where to start. But I guess I will start off with saying, one, I am currently living in a hotel, and I will get to that. I'm living in a hotel with my cat for the moment. I don't know how long I will be doing that. I don't know if things will change soon, but I don't know, we'll see. I think I'm just going to make this a vlog of venting and recapping all of the events of 2022 that led me here and how it made me feel, because I feel like I really have not gotten a release since things have been happening, and things really started hitting the fan at the end of 2021, and I went into 2022 with just bad situation after bad situation. And throughout that entire year, I never had a second to process what was going on. And when I get into just everything that happened, honestly, a lot of people that I talk about this with tell me they really don't know how I'm still here, still keeping myself up, still hopeful for the future, still fighting for things. And honestly, I don't know either, but here I am, here we are. So I'm gonna start with the end of 2021. First, I don't even know what to mention first. First, I want to mention that since about 2020, since 2020, I have not been single. And I haven't been dating the same person, but honestly, I genuinely feel like I have not been alone or by myself since 2020. And I've gone through 3 different relationships within that 2-year time frame. And I won't get into that part yet, but that's important to know. So at the end of 2021, in November of 2021, my mother passed away. And this is my grandmother. I say mother because I was raised by my parents or my grandparents from birth, and that's just my mom. She was the closest person that I had. I could talk to her about anything. She didn't really judge me. I really just felt very comfortable around her. I'm gonna try to move you since my cat just left. We'll see. I'm currently under a heated blanket that I got for Christmas. It's really warm. If you get cold a lot or you have low iron, definitely invest in a heated blanket. I also have a tea here. This is I think it's a lemongrass and mint tea. And I also have a water. I'm also gonna smoke eventually. Maybe in this vlog, maybe not. I don't know how long this vlog's gonna be. What was I talking about? Okay, so my grandmother passed away in November of 2021. And then, of course, the holiday season happened. In December, in my family and in my life, my birthday is on December 1st. And then a lot of my family members have birthdays through the month. And then there's Christmas. And then there is New Year's. So the holiday season was rough after that happened. She passed in the beginning of November. At the end of December, I think it was the day before New Year's Eve, I was assaulted by my brother. I was hit in my left eye, and I was choked, and I had a concussion for a while. I also developed post-concussion syndrome because I didn't have insurance to get treatment for it. So, with that being said, I spent the beginning of 2022 in pain. I spent it grieving. I remember not grieving at all. And I remember not grieving for most of 2022 because so much started happening that I got really avoidant with my emotions. In January, I moved in with my partner at the time, and this was actually a very poor decision to make because I did that out of fear. I don't think the relationship at the time was going well enough for that to even happen. I had been dating her for about half a year by that point. And yeah, we decided to move in because I personally wanted to move out of the apartment that I was in because I lived in an apartment with my brother. He moved in with me a little before my mom passed away because I was trying to save him from myself. I'm 24 and he is 19 currently. So at the time, I was 23 and he was 18. And he was very drunk and I had to work super early, so I woke him up to ask him where he put some of my things that I needed to bring with me to work, and he got very upset and he just hit me. And so much happened after that. My boss made me continue to work. I worked at a coffee shop, and my boss made me continue to work with my black eye and my concussion. And of course, because I didn't get treatment, I wasn't in the hospital for a long time or anything, and there was no way for me to, I don't know what it was. I think it was fear was the reason I did most of that stuff. Fear is the reason I moved in with my partner at the time. I did not want to be alone at the time, and she wanted to move in with me anyway, so it seemed to not be a problem. Her and her parents did all the work to get us there, and I just moved in. I quit that job in February because I should have quit it way before then. I should have quit when I got hit and he wouldn't let me stop working. I should have quit at that time. But I was afraid of not having money. I was afraid of not being able to take care of myself. So there were a lot of factors. There were a lot of reasons as to why I did not quit at the time. There is another video I have that I posted last year, and it's called My Traumatic New Year, in which I talk about that whole situation. So I'm kind of gonna breeze past that part of the assaults and having the black eye and stuff. But yeah, that's how I started the new year, and then things just kept happening after that. Another thing that happened was, and you can see this dog in some of my past vlogs. My partner and I actually got a dog together when my mom passed, and he was a pit lab mix, I believe. And it was really a dog that my partner really wanted, that I didn't say no to. And a lot of things, now looking back, I'm realizing I agreed to a lot of things at the time that I probably wouldn't have agreed to if I wasn't going through such a traumatic situation. But I agreed to get a very big dog, and I lived in a 1-bedroom at the time. She didn't live with me, so this dog was supposed to stay with me, and I have had my cat for a very long time. Well, not a very long time. I've had him for it's going to be 3 years this year. And they didn't get along very immediately. My apartment was too small for him. She was never really over to help me take care of him. And he was very wild. He needed a lot of attention, which I could not provide during that time in my life. If you hear that, that's my cat running around playing. I wasn't in the headspace to take care of a dog that needed so much attention. At the time, since my brother lived with me and he loved dogs and he had a lot of energy, he would help me take care of him. But he definitely got to a point where he didn't want to as much because it wasn't his dog. And my now ex, she is my now ex, by the way, she did not respect that at all. So I had to spend months with him destroying my things. I had to spend months with him fighting my cat. After my brother hit me, I kicked him out. So I was alone with him for a while, and that was really hard because taking care of him and taking care of my cat and still trying to work while I was dealing with a concussion and dealing with the fact that this all just happened, everything was just difficult. Fast forward to around March, I think there was about the timeline is kind of iffy, but 2 to 4 weeks where I wasn't working. I kind of took a break there. And after that, I got another job in March, I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was March. And by then, me and my ex were living together, and things were still awful. At first, I thought things were gonna be good, but I almost wasn't used to the lack of freedom because I had lived alone for a while, and it had always been a thing where while I was living alone, it was just my partners would come over all the time. I would spend a lot of time with partners. I'd say a lot of my relationships were very codependent during those times in my life. But yeah, it wasn't at all what I expected. But I'm glad that it happened because I learned that we were both two very different people. We had very different goals. We had different ways that we wanted to do things. I felt like my needs were not being met. There were a lot of financial problems in which the way that we were splitting money and the way that we were doing things it wasn't working for me. I still ended up having to take care of the dog by myself most of the time because she ended up getting more of a 9 to 5 job, and then would get home and didn't really have a lot of time or energy for him. And I spent the first half of the year basically begging my ex to hear my needs. And it wasn't just the dog. It was more that I wanted her to understand that I need time to grieve, and she wouldn't give me that time. There was a lot of her complaining that I needed to grieve and that I was hurting and that I was very depressed, very anxious. And once that started happening, I started becoming very avoidant in the relationship, and I started taking care of myself more while she was gone. Because at my job, I worked at a coffee shop. I worked at Starbucks. I started at Starbucks after my local coffee shop. Went to Starbucks, and I worked in the mornings. I was usually off by like 12 to 1 every day, even earlier, honestly. But that would be the latest I would work on any given day. And I would spend the rest of the day cleaning, listening to music, going outside, doing self-care stuff. I was really just learning a lot about myself. I was doing a lot of yoga. I was making sure that I was healing. I was kind of getting into this healing stage, but now I'm thinking back, and although I like being able to acknowledge what worked for me at the time so that I can maybe utilize them now, it was a very avoidant kind of healing. It's like I was healing myself but not my environment. So yeah, I was healing but I was trapped. And I guess I thought me healing would be able to take away the fact that my external life was not at all where I wanted it to be, and that definitely showed very quickly. Sorry, my cat's running around distracting me. But that showed very quickly. I was healing but not taking care of my environment. And eventually I ended up telling her that I needed a break, but she wouldn't let me have one. And that was a situation that was hard to deal with because I didn't have the money at the time. I didn't have the finances to just move back. I didn't have the finances to move into my own apartment again, but I didn't want a roommate situation because in the past that just has not worked out for me. I didn't really have any friends that I could live with either. I don't really have family that I could move back in with because my family is actually a big source of trauma for me, and I'm not trying to go back to that environment. I've been gone from that environment since 2017, and I've still been healing from my childhood, very much so. Which that's a whole different story. I won't get into that, but yeah, childhood trauma, people have it. So I ended up, asking for a break. I kept asking for breaks. It's almost like she wouldn't let me have them, and I didn't know how to get out of her place. So that summer, we ended up breaking up anyway, and I was still living with her because, of course, moving is a difficult thing to do. So it was just hard. We lived in a 2-bedroom, so luckily I was able to just move into the other room for the time being, and that was good. I tried to rid myself of the responsibility of taking care of her dog. it actually became a thing where even her parents and her sibling they were telling her to get rid of the dog because she also couldn't take care of him. And you just shouldn't have an animal in an environment where you can't take care of them. If no one can take care of the animal, they deserve to be with someone who can, or someone who can at least try their best, because she couldn't. She did end up getting him into a daycare because she ended up getting a job that had a lot of hours. Like, she was gone for most of the day and a lot of the night. And so she would put him in daycare and then bring him back at night. And it also took a while for me to let him be in his crate at all. It took her a while. It just took her a while. She didn't want him in a crate or anything. So I would be in my room with the door closed, and she would just come home and hope that he didn't destroy her things, which is what I told her that he would do. Or, like, I was out a lot. Once we broke up, I started going out a lot, and I was just like, I'm not going to be here. So it took her a long time to realize he needs to be put in the crate when she's not there at night until she gets back, because it usually didn't take a long time for her to get back once she brought him there. But he was a very destructive dog. So immediately after that happened, I started talking to someone at work. And this is where I say I really have never it's been a long time since I've been alone. And even before the last partner that I had, the one that I'm talking about currently, I was in a very long situationship with someone who was quite older than me. And that was hard too, because that situation was just someone getting out of a long-term relationship and using me to not be lonely. And I mistook that as love for some reason, because there was not much love in that situation. I think there ended up being some, but it ended up being very friendly. He kept saying the thing that people say where they're like, the reason it stayed a situationship for so long too is because he didn't want a title, because he told me that I'm too good of a person to lose and stuff like this, and he doesn't want to have anything more because then if shit hits the fan, I won't be there. And it was shit like that. We are still kind of friends to this day, but we haven't been talking much. He basically is just my weed dealer now, and he's a cosmetologist, so sometimes I let him do my hair, but that's about it. We did hang out a lot, actually, at the beginning of last year and stuff like that, and I just decided I needed a break from a lot of people. I've been in hermit mode a lot. If you read tarot cards, or if you like tarot readings, or if you know anything about tarot, the hermit is just someone who is a hermit. They don't really talk to many people. They're kind of looking inward, staying away from the external realities of things. But yeah, fast forward to the summer of 2022. I met someone at Starbucks. I was still living with my ex, and this person trained me at Starbucks, and we didn't start talking until about a month or two later, and we hit it off very quickly. The relationship was very intense and passionate from the beginning, and we both mirrored each other very much. We mirror each other's toxic traits. We mirrored each other's very good traits. We mirrored each other's hopes for the future and our love of creativity and our longing to feel free and to feel loved. And we felt like the other person we felt like we understood each other so well. And we ended up hanging out every single day. From the first day we hung out, how am I going to explain it? We hung out for one day, and to this day, just all through the entire 2022, like up until now, on the first day that we hung out, there was never a day that we didn't hang out unless the other person was going on like a vacation or something. So I spent the last half of 2022 with someone by my side every single day. And that sounds good. It sounds like a dream, but as some of you may know, when you don't have time to grieve, when you don't have time to process trauma, when you don't have time to find yourself after leaving other relationships, you can get into a new relationship not healed enough to take care of it. I'm about to adjust myself from how I'm sitting right now. So yeah, when you get out of multiple toxic situations and when you go through a lot of grief at once, when you go through a lot of trauma at once, it can be hard to know yourself. It can be hard to find yourself. It can be hard to do things alone. It can be scary. You can be afraid of the future, and you can just develop a lot of unhealthy habits and unhealthy patterns, and you can carry those unhealthy behaviors and patterns into your next relationship because you haven't given yourself time to heal yourself. And eventually, I feel like I'm gonna go back a little bit because no, I think I'm just gonna keep going because there's a whole bunch of stuff in between too. But eventually, if you keep just going on and on and on with your life and being with person after person after person and letting yourself be hurt and hurt and hurt, it can be hard to be in a new relationship. It can just be hard to deal with life in general. So even while I was still living with my ex, like this person was coming over all the time. She was with me all the time. She spent the night all the time. And it was fun. It was a dream. She helped me get over the pain that my ex was putting me through because at the time she started texting me a lot or trying to talk to me in person and crying and really trying to guilt trip me into keeping the relationship with her. And the new person I met really helped me with that. They helped me get my own apartment once shit really started hitting the fan. And yeah, she really helped me with a lot. She would make sure I was having fun. She would make sure I wasn't cooped up in my ex's apartment. And yeah, she really just helped me get a new one. And I got my new 1-bedroom, and she basically lived there with me after that. So I really got out of a relationship, immediately got into another one, and she immediately moved in with me. And I don't think that was the problem because I honestly do believe in those if you know, you know situations. where, like, I know some people have relationships that can move really, really fast and no one really accepts it, but they just know, so they stay. And some relationships like that can really last a while. And my problem here was not that I didn't think the relationship would last a while, because I still do, but I wasn't healed enough to begin a relationship. And she actually had gotten out of a long toxic relationship herself, and a long toxic friendship. Just, she had a lot of different toxic situations that she had just gone through when she found me, when we found each other. And just not having the right coping mechanisms and not knowing how to communicate with each other properly, that ended up with us having probably the worst end of year ever. We argued a lot, we fought so much, we were always unhappy, but we couldn't seem to get away from each other. So instead of leaving, or instead of taking breaks, or instead of her moving back to her parents' house or anything, because she was living with her parents before she lived with me, and she also had a similar situation where she lived with her partner and she moved back in with her parents to get away from her toxic relationship. And instead of either of us trying to move or her trying to move back, we kept trying to work through it, and it was just building up and building up. And that has kind of led me to where I am now. So when I moved out of my ex's apartment, I really just accepted the first apartment that I could get, because this summer it was very hard to find apartments. It was very hard to find affordable apartments. Good apartments run from $1,500 to like $2,000 right now. And I just got one of the cheapest ones, and it turned out to have a shit ton of mold in it that they were not willing to fix. I couldn't just move units or anything. So me and my partner at the time, my new partner, decided to... This actually didn't happen until around November. Okay, so I actually have to backtrack because I'm skipping information. We integrated lives very quickly. My partner wants to do film. I'm calling this person my partner still because she is my partner still, but we are taking a break right now. So she started doing film, and we realized that for her to get the positions that she would want, or for her to kind of move up in the industry, she would have to be able to move around a lot. She would have to be able to travel a lot. And we were asking the people that were on her team in this production that she did, we were asking people, what they were doing. And a lot of people would do extended stay hotels while they were filming. And we kind of compared it to, I guess not really van life, but we kind of compared it to just people who travel very often, people who don't have an apartment to be tied down to. And we kind of liked it because it aligned with both of our goals. My main goal is that I want to be more of like a spiritual advisor for people. I want to read tarot. I want to do content creation. I want to travel. I want to vlog. And I feel like I've just never had the space or the support to follow those creative endeavors of mine. And I felt motivated to just being around so many creative people while she was at that job, and being around her in general. it was very motivating for me. So we decided that as long as she would keep up with the film industry and as long as I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, we could also do extended stay hotels. Because a lot of her film jobs, they wouldn't last for very long, like it could be like 2 to 3 months, some of them could, but they could be in different cities, different states, and we didn't mind the idea of just packing up and going because I've always wanted the life where I could just travel, and I've never been able to travel. I've never been out of the country. I've rarely been out of the state I live in. I live in North Carolina. Even as a child, I barely left my city. I grew up very poor. So this was great to us. It supported her career and it supported the things that I wanted to do. And it was weird because it's a very weird thing for someone to decide that they're going to do, live in a hotel. But we thought it was fun. We said that we were going to pretend we were on episodes of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and stuff like that. It would be really fun. And once we needed to get out of that moldy ass apartment, her parents were generous enough to allow us to stay with them to see if we could like make some money to keep up with these hotel stays, because the hotels that we were looking at have like, and if you know about an extended stay, you can buy a stay up to a week, you can buy a stay up to a month at discounted prices. You're kind of paying for an apartment, and it's a little bit cheaper or almost the same amount as the apartments that I was looking at here, without having to pay for all of the utilities and stuff like that. It comes with a kitchen, has a TV, comes with a shower, bath. So yeah, we thought it would be great, especially knowing that as a person in the film industry, she wouldn't be home often, and just me being a person who likes to go out and do things, I wouldn't be here often. It's just a place where we can come back and sleep and still have our stuff here. So I saw that as an opportunity for me to start literally everything over. We moved into her parents' house, and I actually left a whole bunch of my stuff in the moldy apartment because I wouldn't need it, and I was really trying to start over. I wanted to buy everything over. I wanted to honestly start from the very bottom. I felt like I was going through a tower moment. Again, if you know tarot, a tower moment is a moment where everything comes crashing down. Could be quickly, could be a long process, but everything just comes crashing down for you. And I felt like I wanted that. I wanted that fresh slate. I didn't really care about having anything. I just needed to, I really only cared about building myself back up, because I was already at the bottom. I already felt like I was at the bottom with everything that was going on last year. And yeah, we moved in with her parents, and that was terrible for us because I felt like I was not free at all. It was very, very different from living alone. She hated living with her parents as well because she didn't have a lot of freedom either, and that just caused more arguments between us, especially with her working her film job and she didn't have a lot of time for me. I quit my job at Starbucks because I started having a bunch of chronic pain with my neck and my back and my head because I had a bunch of post-concussion symptoms for a while that year, and I had to stop working because the pain was just so terrible. And I wanted to spend that time. I'm kind of getting emotional about this right now because this part happened closer to the end of the year. Like I said, this was around November, so literally just like 2 months ago. And I wanted to use that time to do content creation. I wanted to use that time to figure out who I was and build myself up and know what I wanted to do and just get back into doing good things and fun things, because we had been very down bad for a long time together. And then, because of what I'm about to say, this kind of feeds into that. I used to be diagnosed with borderline personality disorder a few years ago, and through the years I've been in kind of a recovery. Oh my god. I've kind of been through more of a recovery stage when it comes to that. So it had been a long time since I had those symptoms. It had been a long time since I had manic episodes or depressive episodes or episodes of rage and anger. And we started drinking a lot. We started doing a lot of drugs, and I ended up having a whole outburst, a whole episode at her house. And it had a lot to do with the fact that I was always sad and she was always angry, and I felt really scared of her at the time, and I felt like I was not in control of the situation. I didn't know what to do, and I really spent like a whole night almost like destroying her room, screaming, trying to beg people to listen to me when I told them that she was being very aggressive and angry, and people not listening to me made me more sad, because her family was absolutely not on my side with that. And so they packed my stuff up for me, and I left very drunkenly. I was super drunk, and I left. I don't know what time it was very late at night, and the only place that I could go was back to my parents' house, my hometown, where I would be staying with my biological mom. So I basically drove around drunkenly. Don't know how I'm still here, actually, because I don't remember a lot of that night. And I think eventually I stopped my car somewhere and I slept until the daylight came, because I have a hard time driving at night since I was hit, and I used to wear glasses, but I don't have insurance, so they broke and I couldn't afford to get new ones yet, and I think my eyesight is worse after what happened. So I tried not to drive at night too much. I waited until the morning to drive 2 hours to my parents' house, where I slept. I just went there and I slept, and my partner actually ended up coming back to get me that day, because she said for some reason we could not get away from each other. Her staying at her parents' house wasn't worth me also staying at my parents' house, and neither of us wanted to be there. And she actually drove 2 hours that same day to come get me and put me in a hotel. I think we were there for a night or two. And then after that, we came back to our town. We came back to our city and we got a hotel for ourselves. And we've honestly been staying in hotels ever since. So we've been staying in hotels since the end of November. So it's been a month. Let me see if I can do more brightness. Stop. It's been a month, or a little over a month, since we've been living in a hotel. And things still didn't work out the way we wanted them to, because due to just everything that went on, we were depressed. We were so depressed that month. We didn't know why we couldn't make this work with each other. We didn't know why the love was there, but we couldn't fix things. We didn't know why we could communicate so clearly with each other while also not being able to solve our problems. And through the past month, what has happened is I got a little more distant with her. She became very depressed, and it was hard for us to deal with each other. And we basically decided, after this new year, we decided on New Year's Day, after I had another episode where I self-harmed. While she was sleeping, I ran some bath water and I sat in the bathtub and I drank and I self-harmed. And that was very painful for her to see. And it sent her into an episode of rage where she was just very angry. And we decided we didn't want that anymore. So we went outside and we smoked a cigarette, and I cried. And I don't smoke cigarettes, but I was, which is how I know I'm down bad. So we smoked and I cried, and we came back inside. She ordered food for us. We slept. I don't have insurance right now, so I went on to BetterHelp, which I've tried before in the past, and I didn't like it, but I did need someone to talk to, and I saw that they were doing like a 2 weeks free trial, so I downloaded that, and we slept all day. She ordered food for me, and we decided that we needed a break. So instead of breaking up, because we really don't want to, we love each other very much, and we acknowledge all of the ways that we needed to heal, and we acknowledge that we have things that we need to work on, but that it wasn't worth losing each other over. And we honestly thought that was a healthy decision to make, because sometimes relationships can be way too toxic, and we thought ours was, but we also saw the potential, and we saw how quickly we tried to do everything, and we saw how quickly we tried to integrate our lives together. So we decided to take a step back, and she is sucking it up right now and staying at her parents' house. We decided that we won't see each other physically for at least a week, but we also decided that we won't try to reassess things until about a month at the most, because we don't want to start talking again too soon, or we don't want to integrate our lives again too soon for us to spark a healing. Her logic was that it can take a month to form healthy habits, so we want to use this time to get into a healing stage. She needs to use this time to build herself up because we were getting kind of financially down. We were just getting really depressed, and we just couldn't take care of each other. We couldn't talk to each other the way we needed to, but we acknowledged that there were other influences that were causing that. So yeah, we're taking a step back and we are deciding to fix ourselves. And if fixing ourselves causes us to love each other more or be able to communicate the way we need to in this relationship and to just have a happy relationship together, then we are willing to do that. And we think it's healthy for us to come to that decision rather than still trying to tough it out or losing a person that we're so passionate about because we were too stubborn to try to fix ourselves. And yeah, this is where I am now. I really wanted to start vlogging again because this was a good coping mechanism for me when I was with my last partner, and I really wanted to start again because I liked it, and I told myself that this is what I would do. It was actually hard for me to start this vlog because I didn't know what to say. I felt like I needed to have my thoughts mapped out so that I could know what to say. But honestly, I thought I could just use this as a brain dump vlog to get some thoughts out and to reflect on how my year went, because this is the first time I'm doing that. And yeah, I think I'm going to end this video here. I will probably start recording more because today I have set some goals to clean the hotel room. There's like the bathroom, I have a kitchen space, we have like utensils and stuff there, like plates and everything. I have laundry that I need to put away, and I knew that the first couple days would be hard without her because she's a person that has been in my life for the last half of 2022, and to spend almost every day with someone and then them not being here, it can be a tough adjustment. But I will say one of the healthy things that I've noticed is that in my past relationships I was never able to do this. I've had a lot of toxic relationships, and this one just feels different because I'm able to release her. I'm able to acknowledge that I need to change. I'm able to acknowledge that she needs to change. I'm able to just see things in this relationship that I haven't been able to see in past ones. And yeah, I feel like I just told everyone about a really chaotic life. And if you watched all of this vlog and you have any advice, or you want to vent in the comments yourself, or you want to tell me about your chaotic life, or even if you want to tell me how chaotic everything I'm doing is right now, feel free to do so. Thank you for watching. Thank you for letting me vent, and just thank you for being here. This vlog was really helpful because I was very close to tears and very overwhelmed when I first started this video. And yeah, I hope everyone is having a happy new year, and honestly, may this year be filled with healing and growing and evolving, and may this year be the end of a lot of toxic patterns and behaviors that we all have. May we heal our inner child. May we heal things that maybe we haven't expressed to others. May we heal things that we don't even know needs to be healed yet. And yeah, everything happens for a reason, and I am hopeful for the future.